Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. Today we are making corner huggers or bookmarks. I'm going to show you 3 different ways of making them. But first I want to show you what they are, just in case, if you want to decide if you want to keep watching or not. So basically this is it. They are called corner huggers because they kind of hug the corner of your page. They sit on the corner of your page. And they are beautiful embellishments. They can be little tuck spots if you're using them in a journal. Or, they can be bookmarks for your journal or for your books that you're reading, so you know kind of where you left off. The possibilities with these are endless, the way that you embellish them. What I love about them is the fact that they are beautiful embellishments as well as functional too, and they can be moved around. So, like I said, we will be doing 3 different ways. I've got my instruction sheet over here, and I'm going to place these side by side at the end if you wanted to take a screenshot. So, without further ado, let's begin. The first one we're going to make are these collaged ones. I saw Pink Oddbird making them, and I will leave her video down below if you wanted to get some more inspiration. You can make them as elaborate as you wish or as simple and elegant as you wish. So the first thing we're going to do is just fold a book page in half, just like that. And now I'm going to neaten the edges. So this is where you decide how large you want your corner hugger to be. So I'm just going to get rid of these white edges. Okay, so here we are. There's my book page with the neatened edges. And now I'm just going to glue inside just to keep it sort of together. If you are not going to be sewing or using your sewing machine, then make sure that you sort of glue it down, pretty good. Okay, and now we just collage. So I need to collage on this side that is upside down because this will be covered, and then on the other side you'll still be able to see some writing once we add the second piece of paper, like you can see here. And I want my writing to be the right way. So when I start collaging, I'm going to start on this side that's upside down. I just pulled out a few different bits and pieces from my little scraps box, and I'm going to try and do something with this. So some magazine images like this and just bits and pieces. So now I'm going to try and just put some things together, do a little collage, see what I can sort of come up with. This is the stage where you kind of just play around, have a little bit of fun. And I'm going to speed this process up and then come back at the end. So once again, if you are not planning to use your sewing machine, I would make sure that all of these pieces that you're gluing down are glued down really, really well, all the edges and everything. I'm just sort of adding a little bit of the glue stick just to keep them in place until I get to my sewing machine. It doesn't have to be perfect, I think, that very basic, but I think it's going to look okay once it's done. So I might take this to my sewing machine now and just sew through this to keep it in place. Here we go. I just haphazardly sort of, sewn this on. Perhaps I could have moved it up. I didn't think too much. So now I just want to see maybe what I can do with these pieces, because I feel like adding a little bit more interest or just something to give it a little bit more something. These are just some leftover pieces. Maybe something like this. I don't see why not. Okay, so before I continue with the other side, I'm going to turn it around and just trim off the excess bits that are sticking up and out. But I decided to leave these 2 pieces kind of hanging down a little bit. So I'm not going to trim them off, but all of this. Here we go. Okay, so now we want to turn to the other side. And we want a smaller piece of paper. So the smaller piece of paper that you use is going to be your tack. That's where the page goes in. So this is where you kind of want to think about what side you want to put. All right, let's get a page. So if you want your corner hugger to be sitting on the right-hand page, then you need your piece of paper on the left-hand side. Does that make sense? It's right here. So, this can only sit on the right-hand page. The front of it can only be on the right hand page. I hope that makes sense. This one here, for example, I've done the piece of paper on the right hand, which means that this one is the focal point will be on the left hand page in your book. Hope I'm making sense. So see what I mean? The back of it is on the right page, and then the focal point is on the left page. That's all you have to think about here. Obviously, you don't even have to think about that. You can just glue it on, and then when you're using it in your journal, whatever side it's on, it's on. That's what you do. All right, so this one, I just want to trim it down here and a little bit down the bottom as well. And it doesn't have to be the same size. You can see here, as long as you have two sides that meet, they don't have to meet all the way. So as long as they meet, two sides meet that you can sew through or glue through, it will be fine. Okay, so here's my smaller piece, and that's gonna go on there like so. I could have used scrapbook paper or whatever, but this is just from a magazine, and I think I'm going to do it this way, and I'm just going to round this corner. So then it's easier when you putting it in your book, it's not sort of catching. And obviously I've decided to do it on this side, so this is going to be a left-hand page embellishment. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to my sewing machine. If you're not using a sewing machine, you just glue the edges down, and that's it, call it done. I'm going to sew this on, but I'm actually going to sew, that's what I wrote here, I'm just going to sew all around. So then it's going to keep this in place, this piece of paper in place, and it's going to keep this in place and kind of everything here, you know, nothing will be sort of coming undone. So that's what I'm going to do. And here we go. That's it, done. So I don't know why I actually stuffed up here and I moved it to this side. So my little corner is on this side and it's supposed to be, you know, where the tuck is. So I'll just have to round this corner. No big deal, right? So this is actually going to be a tuck on the right hand side of my page in the journal. One thing that I just wanted to mention is with your stitching, if you're stitching and even if you're gluing, the further away your stitch is from the edge, the further away this is going to stick out of the page. So on this one, I've used a zigzag stitch. Once my page goes in there, that's how much it's going to stick out off of the page. Let's pretend this is my page in a journal. That's how much it's going to stick out. So if your edges of your pages are directly aligned with the spine, then you're going to have this sticking out. Whereas with this one, let's try it in a journal. So because these stitches are closer to the edge, it's not going to stick out as much. Now I have a little bit of space in between my pages and my spine, covers. So it's not going to, once the book is closed, I just need to trim these bits off. So once the book is closed, oh, that matches perfectly, look. That looks good. So yeah, it's not going to stick out, apart from these things which I have to trim. So keep that in mind. Whereas this one here probably might be sticking out a little bit because of the zigzag stitch, it's further away from the edge. That's as far as I can push it in. So you can see it's kind of sticking out. That's one thing to keep in mind when you're making these beauties. All right, so that completes our collaged corner huggers. They can be, like I said, you can just put, here I've just put 3 pieces down together and that's it. A bit of paper, a bit of fabric and a little bit of lace, and that's it, done. Here I just used some little offcuts of things that I had and I put a little focal point so that you're not really, seeing all of these little offcuts of material. Your eye is drawn probably to this first. Here, you know what I mean, you don't have to do too much. This one is pretty much the same principle. I just didn't do collage, I just put a few different pieces down and that's it. Very simple. So you can spend as much or as little time as you like, but I think they look quite cute when you throw a lot of things at them, and all you need is a focal point. So when you look at this, your eye kind of goes here and then travels around a little bit, and that's sort of what you're looking for. Okay, so for our second way of making corner huggers, what we need is 2 squares. So here's an example of what I did. I grabbed a 12 by 12 sheet of paper and I cut it down into 4-inch squares, and this is a double-sided scrapbook paper, so I have something happening on both sides. And now I just need 2 squares, so 2 squares for 1 corner hugger, and obviously I'll be using all of them up. So I've got 2 here. I need to use 1 square and fold it down diagonally like this. So complicated, right? Okay, so now I've got this happening. So I can decide now if I want it to be, hang on, what am I doing? I can decide if I want my corner hugger to look like this, if I perhaps want it to look like this, so I can do different things and I can have different effects from the same thing, right? So you can see with this scrapbook paper that I used, I had these lines going this way. Here I had the pocket on the right hand side, the lines going that way. Here I had this pocket, and so you can sort of play around with just the way that you want your thing to look, right? So I think I like it this way, because once this is on my page, this is the part that's going to be visible, and then when you turn the page, this is the part that will be visible. So I actually quite like this, that it's got this beautiful design, and that's what I want to be visible on my page. So now what you can do is just glue it down, or I'm going to sew it down. And I'm just thinking, so usually what I do is I sew right through all of the sections, so this can't be open. But I guess you could potentially just sew through this or glue it down, just these two sides here. And then this can be like a little secret journaling spot or something like that. But to keep it simple, I'm just going to go and sew this one. As you can see, these are so quick, nothing really to them. And here we go. So it can be now, it can go on a page this way or this way in my book. And you can go ahead and embellish here, or you can even embellish the back as well. I think I might just pop something here just for fun. To be honest with you, it doesn't really need anything because it's quite busy, but I thought maybe I can add a little bit of something. I don't know. Let's see. This is kind of more, I guess, for demonstration purposes. Oftentimes people get stuck and not sure what they can do or how to embellish and stuff. So, but honestly, I think this busy pattern doesn't really need anything. You could do maybe a sentiment, maybe a little reminder for yourself, like something like, I don't know, think positive thoughts, or I don't know, something like that. Here we go. No, it's blending too much, but it doesn't matter. The point is, how to make one. But this also goes with this book. The colors kind of go. So let's find a page, and here we go. And obviously that can be a little, also serve as a little tuck spot like that, or whatever, a bookmark which you move around as you're journaling in your book. Very straightforward. And from one sheet of paper, I think you get, so 1, 2, 3, 4, you get 4 of these, and then you're left over with one little square, and then you can mix and match like I did. Let's see over here. This is a mix and match of 2 different papers. Let's move on to the third one. All right, so this one here, Origami Bookmark. This is how we make this one. I really hope my diagrams make sense. If they don't, they will once you see how it's done. So we're using a square piece of paper. This one is 6 by 6, actually slightly smaller, but it doesn't really matter. So we need to fold it in half diagonally, just like this. There we go. So that's folded in half diagonally. So from the square you get the triangle. Here it is. Now we want to flip the top piece down to the edge, just like that. Here we go. There's my little diagram for that. And now we want to flip the sides up. So see here, these sides, that's these sides. So we're flipping them up. So you can just kind of, you want to make the crease right here where you've got this line over here. So you can either just do it with your hand, or I like to be precise. So I don't always do this, but you can. It's just a way to do it. So I use my ruler to help guide me and to help me kind of make it in the right spot. And over here, see how the edges are not meeting over here? I want the edges to meet, so I will align them and then make my crease over here. If you're using thicker paper, obviously this is easier with really thin paper. If you're using thicker paper, then just make sure that those creases are nice and crisp. So use your bone folder or edge of your scissors. So let me just align this one here. Here we go. And now I'm just going to make that crease nice and sharp. And we end up with this. So I hope you can see that there. Okay, so now, see these two sides? We want to fold them inside the pocket. So this is what we're doing. We've got this. I'm just going to open it up because it's easier. I'll grab one side, I open my little pocket, pop that in there all the way in, make sure that everything is aligned over here, and then I crease it down. Perfect. And now I do the same for this one. So that goes all the way in there. I want that to sit really nicely in there. Make sure everything is aligned and then crease it down. And that's it. It's as simple as that. It is so easy and quick. So then what you get is this. And this is your bookmark, right? Here's your page and here's your bookmark, and there you have it. So I personally don't like this. It doesn't look good to me. It doesn't look finished. So now you might want to add a little embellishment, a little die cut. I'm going to use maybe a flower like this because I like this flower because it kind of, if I align it properly, it will hide that line. It will stick out a little bit off the edge. I don't mind it. I actually like it. So all I'm going to do is add two little bits, two little flowers and a brad in the middle. And there we go. There's my flower. So I'm not going to actually put this through this because then my metal bits will be inside here and it will be catching on a page. So what I'm going to do is just close those little feet and then glue this on top. You can embellish these any way that you like. And the only reason why I'm embellishing them is because of that opening, which I don't like. But if you can just keep it simple, and if you're using really pretty scrapbook paper, you know, you can just leave it as it is. So you can really use any size paper. Let's try this one. This is a 4x4 square from the ones that I did before. So let's see how it's going to look if you have a little tiny little bookmark. So obviously I didn't trim this one down well enough because it's got these pieces sticking out. So all I'm going to do is trim off that. It wasn't a perfect square. When it's not a perfect square, it doesn't, all the edges don't meet the way that they should. Now this goes down here. Let's get closer. Okay, so here we go. And now we're flipping this side up to meet this point up here. So you want those edges to meet. And then we want to do the same with this side. It's a little bit harder working with this paper because this is a thicker scrapbook paper. And the thicker the scrapbook paper, obviously the harder it's going to be to work with. So now we have to pop these little ends inside, and you want everything to align really nice. And then this one here. So obviously this isn't the prettiest bookmark there is, but it is certainly the quickest. No sewing, no gluing. And then because this is a thick scrapbook paper, or perhaps I didn't make sure that all of my sides meet perfectly, and I have this little gap here. So now what I would do is cover that up with something. Let's see how it actually looks as a bookmark. Let's pretend I'm reading this Reader's Digest book. And here's my little bookmark, because that's what I'm up to. You know, really quite easy and simple, so it can obviously be used as a bookmark, corner hugger, whatever. You know, in your journals, in your book, as embellishment, and as an actual functional thing. So you can see I've made a few different ones. I added these flowers because I thought the flowers go really well. I'm sure, you know, there's many other ways of making these bookmarks and corner huggers. Which one is your favorite way? I really like these collaged ones. They do take a lot more work, but they're so... Look how good this goes on this page. I'm just seeing this. Of course, the things that take more work will look more appealing, I think. What do you guys think? Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments down below. Alright, so now I am going to put these side by side so that you can take a screenshot. Here are the first two ways of making them, and now I'm just going to pop the third one. The third one kind of doesn't really make sense when you're looking at just my measly attempt at drawing diagrams, but I think it makes sense once you actually see it done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new. These are such beautiful little additions to a junk journal, especially these collaged ones. I really love them. Let me know which one is your favorite. I'm pretty sure you guys are all gonna say the collage ones, but you know what? These are so quick and easy. You can make hundreds of them sitting down watching TV. Can't really do this one sitting down watching TV, or perhaps you could. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!